I start with today's video, I would just like to apologize if it sounded a bit weird. I am currently sick at the moment, which is why I didn't upload on Friday, but I still wanted to upload a video today. Anyway, on to today's topic. So today, Battlefield 1's They Shall Not Pass DLC was finally released to the excitement of many fans, including myself. The new DLC has quite a few new features, including introducing the French army into the mix, 4 new maps, a new behemoth, a new tank, new operations missions, and a new class, among many other features. Although I have been having a lot of fun with Battlefield 1, it has become apparent that in waiting for the first DLC pack, that it seems that some people have grown somewhat tired of the game, which did initially surprise me a bit. The base version of the game includes 9 maps, 10 if you count Giant Shadow, which was made available for free in December, as well as a campaign mode that lasts about 6 hours in total. It was around early January that people started making it apparent that they were beginning to grow bored with the game, or at least that was when I first started seeing YouTube videos and opinion pieces stating that the game lacked enough content to keep people engaged for long periods of time. People were beginning to call for the release of the DLC, which is kind of odd because the recent general public opinion with regards to DLC, particularly with multiplayer based FPS titles, has been very negative. Probably even more so now than ever, now that Activision has decided to not only charge people for Modern Warfare DLC packs for a second time, but also at a higher price than what they were initially released at. All of this had me thinking about how much content is enough content for a game like Battlefield, and then also what is the public opinion really like with regards to DLC? Are most gamers really annoyed with DLC practices, or do most gamers support a scheduled increase in content? So let's start with the first question. How much content is enough content? I've always found that this is a very difficult question to answer, as there are definitely instances where games have had too little content to keep gamers engaged for long periods of time, such as with Evolve, but there were instances when I saw many gamers complaining in news article comment sections and discussion threads about the amount of content a game had, but I didn't really agree with those sentiments. In terms of myself, I've come to realize that my feelings on whether a game has enough content is generally associated with the style of the game. In this, I'm not even speaking about games of different genres, such as an open world game as opposed to a linear game, but rather even different FPS multiplayer titles. I can see why many gamers may get annoyed with the Call of Duty game being initially released with 12 maps or so. Firstly, because previous games in the series have always been released with more, and then secondly, due to the fact that it is completely possible to play through all of the maps included in the base game within less than 2 hours. In such cases, even if you only set an hour to play video games every day, it kind of means that you will most likely play on the same maps very frequently, due to the fact that matches are generally very short and quick paced, and thus many gamers may get very bored of them quickly. When playing Battlefield, I do tend to lean more towards playing Operations or Conquest, game modes in which matches could easily last about a half an hour, meaning that if you only have a very limited time to play video games, you'll most likely only see 1 or 2 maps each time you play. There was actually a point last week where I realized that I hadn't played on Argonne Forest, Sinai Desert or Giant Shadow for about 2 or 3 weeks because I kept on joining lobbies and map rotations between Suez and Amiens and only playing about 2 matches before switching the game off. The first time that I played Argonne Forest again, I was really excited because it felt somewhat new again. Well, until the first time I was gunned down with a shotgun on Objective Butter, that is. While I am definitely playing Battlefield 1 less than I did when it first came out, I wouldn't really say that this is solely due to the amount of content the game has, but rather due to the fact that it also has to compete for my attention against not only other games, but also other activities that I like to do in my free time. It seems that while there are clear examples of games being released as a shell at full price, there are definitely some games that gamers have to decide for themselves whether the game was released with enough content. Seemingly, the amount of content a game is released with also directly influences public perception of DLC for that title. Gamers don't want to feel as if they just bought a game that they're going to have to pay more to really gain the full experience. For example, cutting off the ending of a title's campaign and then packaging it as the first DLC edition. Then also Season Pass or Premium Access editions often only cost slightly less than the actual game. If gamers choose to invest in purchasing such editions, they want to feel as if it has been worthwhile. For example, making sure that most of the content editions aren't simply cosmetic upgrades to already existing content, such as new skins for characters or weapons. The amount of content gained with purchasing Battlefield 1's Premium Access Pass does seem to suggest that quite a few additions will be made to the game, thus extending the game's lifespan. hand. However, whether the amount of content offered is enough to warrant its price is something that each gamer has to decide for themselves. While I do think that the price of the premium access pass is very high, I don't really have a problem with the amount of content that they are offering with it. I do think that both the French and Russian armies should have been included in the base version of the game, but that wasn't really a huge problem for me. I think that the bigger overall general problem with both DLC releases and annual releases of FPS and multiplayer titles is that it divides player bases and makes it harder for many gamers to keep playing the game, as now only a percentage of the initial player base has access to all of the new content, making it harder to find matches and harder to play the game overall. How annual releases of titles affects this is that some gamers may not buy the season pass for a game due to the fact that they know a new game is coming out at the end of the year. If publishers committed to sticking to a single title for a few years and providing regular content updates, I'm sure that less people perhaps would have a problem with buying season passes. Well, what do you think? Do you feel that Battlefield 1 wasn't released with a lot of content? Did you buy its premium access pass, and do you think that enough content is being offered with it when taking the price that you paid for it into account? Please share in the comments down below. And if you like this video, please remember to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.